Hey, beautiful friends, welcome to another Tech Tuesday. We've had so many of these together, and I'm really excited that I keep seeing new people tune in every week. So tonight, because I'm screen sharing, I won't be able to give you special shout outs, but please leave me a comment in the window to let me know you're here and to let me know your favorite strategy. Before we go any further, I want to let you know that I blog at SuzyLolley.com. Every week you can see more information about what I talked about, because this video just gives you an overview, but I go into more detail. You can take notes there, whatever you need to do. I also tweet at Suzy Lolley, so you can find the same thing right down there. I would love to have you add a comment, go look at the blog post, and that post will be up Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Okay, friends, so let's go ahead and get started. I don't know about you. I don't know what your background is, so feel free to tell me in the comments what you teach, what grade level, and how nervous it makes you to try to do technology with your little ones, or maybe how frustrating it makes you to try to do technology with your little ones. And guys, if you hear doggies scratching, I have 2 doggies in the garage and one somewhere close by, so we just have to go with what we got here. But anyway, so I come from the background of teaching 8th grade. I taught 8th through 12th grade in my 11-year career in the classroom, and I now teach teachers. And so as I have taught teachers, my repertoire has expanded because the last 2 years I have been immersed in elementary school as well as middle and high school. So I have made it my mission. I'm not just going to say, well, I don't know how to do elementary school. But what I've done is I've made it my mission to say, how can I take what I do, what I'm supposed to be teaching, and how can I very specifically apply it to different situations, such as when I'm training a PE teacher, or such as when I'm training an art teacher. But also a niche in education is the K through 2 primary grades. And so I wanted to focus in tonight on just one kind of area of expertise for little ones, and it's Office 365. Now I'm going to go ahead and and this is a bad error right here. They're supposed to be smushed together. Okay, there we go. I want to go ahead and give credit where credit's due. I did not come up with the idea of having little ones do technology, but in my research, I came across a wonderful website. It's ChristinePinto.com, and her hashtag is GAFE for littles, so GAFE number 4 littles. She has tons of templates on her website, and when I was looking, though, for resources for a Microsoft district like ours, I didn't find the same resources as there is in Google land. Google has been in the education market longer as far as, their learning management system. So Microsoft is really doing a lot in a short amount of time, but there just aren't as many resources out there. So what I thought was I'd create my own. But I did want to give it to Christine Pinto. She's done a fabulous job. And here are a few of her templates that I was inspired by. Okay? So without further ado, let's get down and dirty with some ideas that I have for you specifically using Office 365 tools with your little ones. This first idea here is something that works best on an iPad, and it's color words. We're going to start at the kindergarten end of the spectrum. We're going to work our way up with a little bit of first grade and then more heavy on the second grade side of things. So if you're a first grade teacher, I'd love for you to reach out and tell me how any of these ideas could be adapted for your students. I am working on a couple ideas, and I'd love to hear more, especially, like I said, in the first grade niche or kindergarten, second grade for sure. So this activity, students did a little scavenger hunt, and with that scavenger hunt, they were, and let me see if I can make that bigger and still, yeah, you can still screen share. Okay, so with this activity, they did a scavenger hunt. They were assigned a color. You'll see in just a minute, it's a very simple slide. The slide just had a word on it, and that word was a color word. So they would go around the room, and I taught them how to take pictures with the iPad to add that picture to their slide. Okay, I have done this successfully with kindergartners just a couple weeks ago, and they loved it. So for example, they have a slide that says yellow, and with that slide, hopefully you can see my mouse here, they're going to click the picture button, and the picture button will allow them to take a picture of something in the room. And to make it more challenging, I told the students I didn't want them all clumped up on the same yellow thing. I wanted them to go around the room and find something that nobody else was taking a picture of. So really a way to build technology competency, because they're having to use the iPad specifically to take a picture. You could actually use this with any device as a webcam, but a kindergartner carrying around anything but an iPad is probably dangerous, just to be honest. But it's building that tech fluency. It's also building fluency with PowerPoint, which is where this is built. It's also building fluency in reading the words and recognizing the colors that match them. What's next? This is a cute idea, again, that I adapted, but it's graphing colors. And so you give students objects in several different colors: red, yellow, green, blue, purple, orange. You're totally the boss. And they're going to type the total. So they're going to count the things. They're going to type the total. And then I use the letter X in Excel to designate when I want a cell to color in. I used conditional formatting. Tonight's not going to be so much about how to add conditional formatting, but if you go back to week 2 of Tech Tuesday, you'll find how I created from scratch an Excel habit tracker. I will try to remember to link to that over here in the comments. And in that, I show you how to do conditional formatting. Okay, so here's what it looks like. Students are on the left side counting their objects, adding their totals. And then on the right-hand side, as they add X's, I've customized it so that they start to develop little bar graphs to help them graph how many items they have. Just a really simple way, and they think it's really cool when the colors start to fill in. Again, these are real activities I've done with real kindergartners. Here's another one, and actually I have done this activity let me think if I've done it. Yes, I've done it with K first and second grade in different versions. I have 2 versions of this activity, and I'm going to be working on some more shortly. But I did one on St. Patrick's Day where there was a background and kids could drag items out. So these are draggable. If I were in, it's just a picture of it. But if I were in, the real PowerPoint, then these things would drag out. And what I did was just make 10 copies and then line them up. There's a quick trick for that. On the picture menu, there's the word align. And you can choose, if you have all the items selected that you want to have kind of line up quickly, you can choose different ways to align them. You can align them to the center of the screen. You can align them to the left. You can align them to the top. So anyway, I aligned these items. There are 10 of them. There is no quick little duplicate button in PowerPoint like there is in, say, Active Inspire or Promethean. Those are the same thing, excuse me, Smart Notebook or Active Inspire. And so I just did my own little version, but I copied it and aligned 10 copies of that item. So they can drag out beach balls or kayakers or sandcastles or beach towels, and they can drag them out up to 10 times, decorate them all over the beach. And then here's what they do. Next, they're going to count, again, putting their totals at the bottom here, and they're going to count how many items they put in. I've got these set up for conditional formatting, so the colors will start to build the bar graph as they go. And then also on this one, I added number sentences. So for example, how many umbrellas and beach towels do you have? They count each item separately, and then they write an equation, or you could call it a number sentence or whatever works for your kiddos. And y'all, I added this ugly green box. Sorry about that. But it just gives them practice not only counting, graphing, seeing how the beginnings of Excel work, but also then putting those numbers into number sentences or equations. Finally, when I showed this to first graders, first grade teachers, I told you that I'm trying to develop my repertoire. For some reason, I've got kindergarten stuff and I've got second grade stuff. But this is one thing I did for first grade. The teachers said, we really like this activity, but our first graders are learning to count by 2s and 5s and 10s. So I added on the same activity a challenge tab. And kindergartners wouldn't even know to click that, so I just have one activity. But first graders, when they click the challenge tab, they're going to see this activity. Kayaks are worth 2 points. Count by 2s to see how many kayak points you have, okay? Or how many sandcastle points or how many beach towel points. And then they're going to graph those. I have a bigger graph that I didn't picture here because it doesn't translate too well to taking a screenshot. But they have a bigger graph that will grow faster because they're counting by 2s or 5s or 10s. So a really good way for us to take the same activity and take it up a notch. What else do I have? So these are some activities that I built specifically by request of some second grade teachers. These second grade teachers said, you know what, Suzy, we want kids to have a self-running center where it's not something that we have to teach them. It's something they've already learned, but they're just doing a quick review. I have done this now with, let's see, about 6, maybe 11, 12 groups of second graders. And what I've noticed is kids who struggle at math are going to struggle on this activity. So even though it's intended as a review, it may be a tool that you can use for a teacher-led review, or kids who are more advanced were buzzing right through this. You also might want to add in a self-checking component. I was afraid to do that just in general because I didn't want the kids to just click and check the answer and fill it in. Okay, but I've got several activities for second grade, and I put all of these in a module. We're a Canvas district, so I put all of these in a module for those teachers and just had several different strategies, which I'll walk you through. So for example, I built this number line just using a very painstaking process. There's no semicircle in PowerPoint, so people who are watching, if you're affiliated with the PowerPoint creators, you guys could add a semicircle shape. That would just be divine. And so anyway, I added different jumps on the number line, and I asked them to fill in the jumps. So down here, I've started, the problem is 18 plus 45. I've given them the correct number of 10 jumps and 1 jumps. But what they're doing is they're counting back, or adding 10, adding 10, adding 10, adding 10, adding 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and arriving at a final answer. So this just gives them basically a graphic organizer and some troubleshooting to kind of figure out if they're not good at this, the traditional algorithm strategy. Here's another strategy. I did the same with subtraction on the number line, and these little jumps are cuter because I found a website where I could create cute jumps and then just snip those and put them on here. But again, here they're jumping backwards from 92 down 54, arriving at a final answer and typing that in the box. What else do I have? Base 10 blocks. The biggest problem I had with these, because I like to be transparent, is that the kids kept not dragging them. Some kids were fine at dragging them. Other ones kept stretching them out and making them really big. So that was, I just taught this one yesterday in one class. And so that would just be my only tip. Just teach the kids how to move them without changing the corner shapes. They struggle with that. They need to be taught to get the 4-way arrow instead of the little draggy corners, to use a really technical term. But with this one, the green represents the top number, the blue represents the bottom number. So they would drag over, in the case of 25, they'd get 2 10s, 5 1s. For 18, they'd get 1 10, 8 1s. They would need to see that they would need to cash in all those ones for another 10. And then after they've done that, they're going to type the answer. Same with subtraction. And on this one, I added a video to help them. Same thing. This one, I made them all the same color by the teacher's recommendation. All the 10s are the same color. All the 1s are the same color. But same process, dragging them over, using them to add. Okay, I will add this. I have not finished developing this slide, but I took this down to a first grade level. So again, working on first grade resources. And on the one that I have just begun creating, I just have the 10s and 1s chart with some blocks. I don't have a problem up here. And I asked them to count the blocks and tell me how many 10s, how many 1s, and then write the final answer when they add that up. So just an idea for that as well. With number sense, this is a fun one that, again, you can do on a computer or on the iPad. It would really work well on either one. But the kids are going to be given a number, and they have to add shapes to equal that number. I tried this with a class, with a kindergarten class, and once they got the hang of adding the shapes, they were rocking and rolling. Sometimes I would tell them what shape to pick that was a little bit easier to manipulate. Anyway, and we did not get to this bonus thing where it says they can color them in by doing shape fill. But they were rocking and rolling. I was able to rotate 3 groups in and them get pretty far on this activity. The others were in the hall doing that iPad scavenger hunt I showed you earlier with the color words. Okay, so for example, they would have the number 1. They would click the shape button, and that's not pictured on the screen. It's just at the top of PowerPoint, and they would be able to add 1 shape or 2 shapes or 10 shapes, however big you want to take it. And another way you could make this one more advanced is do the numbers out of order. It might be easy to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but what if you showed 5 first? Could they add shapes there? This was a really fun one. I'm bouncing back to second grade just because this one has several slides. So the one previous was kindergarten with the shapes. But going back to subtraction, I don't know about you, but when I learned to subtract, I learned one strategy: stack up the numbers and subtract them. But since helping these second grade teachers, it's been really cool to see that the number line is a strategy, the base 10 blocks are a strategy, and then this one is stacking like we used to do, but it's called the rhyme roll. And I want to show you what it looks like. So on this, they go ahead and I teach them how to click the slideshow button because they're going to be clicking slides. This one's like a choose your own adventure. And I didn't want them to accidentally get to a slide that was ahead of where they needed to be. And so I had the little slideshow button, had them go into slideshow as soon as they started. Then they click next. On each problem, they're going to look at the ones column, decide which button to pick based on the rule. And if they get stuck, it starts them over. I'll show you that. Okay, so for example, 18 minus 8. Which of these buttons would you click, my friends? So I just used the shape tool to make the buttons. Numbers the same, zeros the game is the correct rule if you thought that. But these were the rules to help them remember how to stack like we used to do. Or as a cutie pie second grader told me, the traditional algorithm. I have to say that in my smart voice, okay? But anyway, so the rhyme rule, if they click the right button, it goes to the next problem. If they click the wrong button, it goes here. And this is just an office mix, soon to be known as a stream. But it's just a little office mix where they can go and review all three strategies or just one strategy. Then when they click the purple button, it does go to the next problem. Okay? They knew they were finished when they got congratulations. And then it says follow the directions on the poster. My intention was at the end of this that they would record themselves on Seesaw showing their favorite strategy used to work out a problem. I don't know if the teachers took it that far, but that was the intention. And then finally, in case you're a Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert, aka MIEE, who saw me do this presentation before, this is one of two new things I've added since then. One was that beach graphing scene I showed a few minutes ago, but this is another one where a teacher said, hey, I'm looking for an activity on this, and I created it for her. The fronts and backs of all the US coins, and then she wanted them to tell what the front looked like, what the back looked like, and what the value of the coin was. So in this case, they would just drag and drop and put the coins where they go. So I hope this has given you some really good ideas. I would love to hear your ideas because I'm always around teachers sharing things with them. And so here's the deal. I want to start a hashtag. So if you have already created resources you think would be lovely to share, I think we voted on this first one here, hashtag O365 for littles, okay? Mini Microsoft is also cute, so if you wanted to add both of them, that would be great. I have a shared folder. You can either scan this code or click this link to go there. It's going to take you to a shared drive folder, OneDrive folder that has all these resources in it. And I'm always tweeting little tips on Twitter. That was a long thing. That was a tongue twister. So if you'll follow me at Suzy Lolley or visit me at SuzyLolley.com, you're going to get lots and lots more resources. Guys, I so appreciate you tuning in tonight. And I'm going to escape out of this and pop on over back to Facebook. If I can get there just in a second. And Beth and Ann and Dusty and Scott, I so appreciate you being here live, and I will see you next week.